What's the one thing you can talk about for hours without getting bored? That one activity or interest that just makes you light up?
That's a great question, Brian. And it's exactly what we're going to dive into today on the English podcast for listening and speaking. I'm Emily.
And I'm Brian. We're so excited to have you join us today for an episode all about passions, hobbies, and personal interests.
You know, Brian, when I think about that question, for me, it's definitely gardening. I could talk all day about different types of flowers, planting schedules, or even just the joy of watching something grow from a tiny seed. It's a very relaxing hobby for me.
That sounds wonderful, Emily. For me, it's exploring new technologies, especially anything related to artificial intelligence. I love reading articles, watching documentaries, and trying out new apps. It's constantly evolving, so there's always something new to learn and discuss.
Exactly. And that's our point for today's episode. Your hobbies aren't just fun ways to spend your time. They're also fantastic conversation starters and an amazing way to expand your English vocabulary.
Absolutely. Think about it. When you're passionate about something, the words just flow naturally. And by connecting new English words to something you already love, it makes learning much more enjoyable and memorable.
Today, we're going to explore a variety of hobbies and show you how to talk about them in English. We'll cover everything from sports and music to art, reading, and even travel. We'll introduce key vocabulary, useful idioms, and practical grammar points, all while sharing some fun personal stories.
So get ready to unlock a whole new world of English conversations all through the lens of your own passions. Let's get started. Let's do it. And speaking of getting started, one of the most common and exciting topics people love to talk about is sports.
Absolutely, Brian. Sports are a universal language, aren't they? And there's so much rich vocabulary around them. So, Brian, I'm curious, what's your favorite sport to watch or play?
Oh, that's an easy one for me, Emily. It has to be soccer, or as many parts of the world call it, football. I've been a huge fan of the sport since I was a kid. My favorite team is Manchester United.
Manchester United, a classic choice. So you're a fan, meaning someone who strongly supports a team or a sport. And you mentioned your favorite team, which is a group of players who play together against another group in a game. Do you play soccer yourself or mostly watch?
I used to play a lot when I was younger, but now I mostly watch. I try to catch every match. That's a game between two teams, especially when my team is playing. Do you have any favorite sports, Emily?
I enjoy watching tennis, especially the big tournaments like Wimbledon. A tournament is a series of contests between a number of competitors, competing for an overall prize. The atmosphere is incredible. I also love swimming. I used to swim competitively.
That's fantastic. So when you watch a tennis match, what makes it exciting for you? Is it the skill, the suspense?
Definitely the suspense, and watching the players try to score points. To score means to gain points in a game or competition. Every point matters, especially when it's a close match. Speaking of playing, when you played soccer, how often did you practice?
Good question. When I was seriously into it, we had practice sessions 3 times a week. Practice refers to doing an activity regularly to improve a skill. It's essential if you want to get good. We also did a lot of training, which is a more general term for the process of preparing for a sport or a competition.
So, practice is specific to honing skills for the game, and training is the broader physical and mental preparation. That makes sense. Did you have a coach?
Oh, absolutely. A good coach is vital. A coach is a person who trains and instructs players in a sport. Our coach taught us everything from basic dribbling to complex strategies. He really pushed us to be the best. Thanks to him, our team even became local champions one year.
Wow, champions. That means you won the competition. That must have been an amazing feeling. So we've covered quite a few words already. Fan, team, match, tournament, score, practice, training, coach, and champion. Great job, everyone.
And now let's talk a little about grammar. Specifically, the difference between the present simple and the present continuous when we're talking about sports. This is a common point of confusion for many learners.
Yes, it really is. So, Brian, can you explain the main difference?
Of course, we use the present simple for habits, routines, and general truths. For example, if I say I play soccer every Saturday, it means it's my regular routine. It's something I do habitually. Or, my team usually wins their home games. This describes a general fact or tendency.
Right, so it's about what you usually do or what generally happens. Exactly. Now, the present continuous is different. We use it for actions happening right now at this moment, or for temporary actions, or even for future arrangements that are already fixed. So if I say, I'm playing soccer right now, it means I'm on the field, actively playing at this very second. Or, my team is playing a big match this weekend. This describes a planned future event. So, I play tennis every weekend is present simple, a habit. But, I'm playing tennis this Saturday uses present continuous because it's a specific planned event in the near future. Is that right?
You've got it perfectly, Emily. Another example, he trains very hard, present simple, a general habit. But he's training for the marathon next month. Present continuous, a temporary activity happening now in preparation for a future event.
This distinction is really important for clear communication. So let's try to put this into practice with a mini scenario. Imagine we've just met at a park and we discover we both love sports. Let's role play a conversation between two sports fans meeting for the first time.
Perfect. I'll be Mark and you can be Sarah. Okay, Mark. Nice to meet you. Sarah here. Lovely day, isn't it? Hi, Sarah. Nice to meet you too. Yes, it really is. Are you enjoying your walk?
I am, thanks. I just saw some people playing soccer over there. Are you a fan of soccer?
Oh, definitely. I'm a huge soccer fan. My favorite team is the Eagles. They usually play really well. I watch them whenever I can. Do you follow any sports?
I do. I'm really into basketball. My favorite team is the Wildcats. They're actually playing a big match tonight. I'm so excited.
Oh, wow, that's great. So, they're playing tonight. That's present continuous for a fixed future arrangement. Excellent. What time is the match?
It starts at 7 p.m. I'm meeting some friends at a sports bar to watch it. We often go there for games. How about your team? Are they playing soon?
They usually play on Saturdays. But this week, they're training for a big tournament next month. So they don't have a match this weekend. They're really hoping to be the champions this year.
That makes sense. So they're training now for something in the future. That's a good example of present continuous for a temporary action or preparation. Does your team have a good coach?
Yes, their coach is fantastic. He always says you can't win if you don't practice. He makes sure they practice every day, especially before a big tournament.
That's true for any sport, isn't it? Hard work and practice always pay off. So what's the score usually like when the Eagles play? Do they often win by a lot?
Well, it depends on the opponent, of course, but they usually score a lot of goals. Last week, they won 3-1. We were all celebrating. I'm hoping they keep up their winning streak for the tournament. Are the Wildcats usually good at scoring points?
They are. They have some really strong players. They're also known for their defense. Last season, they were almost champions. They made it to the finals, but they didn't quite get the win. I'm really hoping they win the tournament this season.
I hope so too. Sounds like you have a lot to look forward to tonight. I might even try to catch some highlights of the game later.
You should. It's going to be an exciting one. It was really nice talking to you about sports, Mark.
You too, Sarah. Good luck to the Wildcats.
Thanks. You too for the Eagles.
All right, that was a fun role play, Emily. We used a lot of our target vocabulary naturally, and we also demonstrated the present simple for habits, like my team usually plays on Saturdays, and the present continuous for ongoing actions or future plans, like they're training for a big tournament next month or they're playing a big match tonight.
Exactly. And you heard words like fan, team, match, score, training, coach, tournament, champion, and practice. Remember, when you talk about what you regularly do, use the present simple. When you talk about what's happening now or a planned event in the near future, use the present continuous.
It might seem tricky at first, but with practice, You'll get the hang of it. Think about your own favorite sports. Do you play them every week? Or are you watching a specific game right now? That will help you choose the correct tense.
And don't be afraid to sound like a true fan. Sports give us so many opportunities to use enthusiastic language.
That's true. Next up, we're going to switch gears from the roar of the crowd to the rhythm of the music. Emily, get ready to tell us all about your first concert experience. That's true? Next up, we're going to switch gears from the roar of the crowd to the rhythm of the music. Emily, get ready to tell us all about your first concert experience.
Oh, Brian, I'm so ready. Talking about music is one of my absolute favorite things. And my first live concert experience, it was unforgettable. A concert is a public musical performance, usually by a band or orchestra, and it's a totally different experience from just listening to music at home.
I can imagine. Tell us all about it. What kind of music was it? Who was performing?
It was a pop rock band called the Starlight Collective. I was probably about 15 and my older sister took me. We went to a big arena in our city. I remember walking in and feeling this incredible energy even before the band came out. The place was absolutely packed.
That sounds amazing. So what was it like when the band finally appeared?
It was electrifying. The lights went down and then spotlights hit the stage. The stage is the raised platform where the musicians perform. Suddenly, the band members walked out, and the whole audience erupted. An audience is the group of people who come to watch or listen to a performance. Everyone was screaming and cheering.
Wow, I can feel the energy just listening to you describe it. So what did you see on the stage? What instruments did they have?
Oh, so many. The lead singer had a microphone, of course. The guitarist had an electric guitar, the bass player had a bass guitar, and there was a drummer with a huge drum kit. An instrument is any object used to produce musical sounds. It's fascinating how different instruments create different sounds. They all contribute to the overall sound, which is the melody.
That's a great point. The melody is the main tune of the song, the part you usually hum along to. So how was the actual performance? Did they play your favorite songs?
Yes, they did. The performance, which is the act of performing music, singing, acting, or dancing in front of an audience, was incredible. They sounded even better live than on their albums. The lead singer's voice was so powerful, and the guitarist played these amazing solos. I knew all the lyrics to their songs, so I was singing along at the top of my lungs.
The lyrics are the words of a song, right? That must have been really special, singing along with everyone.
Absolutely. There's something so powerful about thousands of people singing the same lyrics together. It creates this amazing connection. One of my favorite songs they played had this really catchy melody. You know, the main tune that makes a song memorable? It just stuck in my head for days after the concert.
I know that feeling. It sounds like a truly memorable performance. Did they play for a long time?
They played for almost 2 hours. It felt like time just flew by. By the end, everyone in the audience was on their feet, dancing and cheering for an encore. It was the loudest, most exciting thing I had ever experienced. When they finally left the stage, everyone was still buzzing. I felt so happy and energized. It was definitely a formative experience for me.
What a fantastic story, Emily. You've naturally used so many great vocabulary words already: concert, instrument, melody, lyrics, audience, stage, and performance. These are all super useful when talking about music and performing arts.
Thanks, Brian. And it really helps to have a personal story to connect them to, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Now let's talk a little about how we describe music and performances, especially when we want to compare them. This is where comparatives and superlatives come in handy. We use comparatives to compare two things, and superlatives to compare three or more, showing which one is the most extreme.
Oh, like saying, this song is more relaxing than that one, or it's the best concert I've ever been to.
Exactly. For most adjectives, we add ogre for comparatives, like louder, and est for superlatives, the loudest. For longer adjectives, we use more for comparatives, more exciting, and most for superlatives, the most exciting. And then we have irregular ones like good, better, the best, and bad, worse, the worst.
Can you give us a few more examples with music terms?
Certainly. Let's take your concert. You said it was electrifying. You could say, "This concert was more electrifying than any other concert I've been to." Or, using a superlative, "It was the most electrifying concert of my life."
I see. So if I wanted to compare two instruments, I might say, the guitar is louder than the drums in this song, or the piano creates a softer melody than the trumpet.
Perfect examples. And for superlatives, you could say, "The violin has the most beautiful sound of all string instruments," or "This band's lyrics are the most meaningful I've ever heard."
This is really helpful for expressing opinions and preferences. So let's talk about some different types of music. Brian, what kind of music do you usually listen to?
I listen to a lot of different genres, but I'd say classical music is often more calming than pop music for me. I find the complex melodies and harmonies in classical pieces incredibly rich.
I agree. Classical music can be incredibly beautiful. For me, pop music is usually more upbeat than classical, which makes it better for dancing. But a classical performance in a concert hall can be the most moving experience you can have. It feels so grand.
It really does. And what about the lyrics? Do you prefer songs with very clear lyrics, or do you sometimes enjoy instrumental music that focuses purely on the melody?
That's a great question. For me, songs with clear, relatable lyrics are usually more engaging than instrumental ones, especially if the story they tell is powerful. But sometimes, when I'm trying to focus, instrumental music is the best choice because it's less distracting. It really depends on my mood. What about you?
I'm with you on that. If I'm working, instrumental jazz is often more productive than pop music with loud lyrics. It's calmer, and the melody can be inspiring without pulling my attention away.
That's smart. Speaking of different ways to listen to music, how do you usually discover new artists or songs? Do you listen to the radio, or do you prefer making your own playlists?
I definitely prefer making my own playlists. A playlist is a list of songs, usually chosen by a person, to listen to in a specific order. I find it's more personal than listening to the radio, where you don't have much control. I can curate a playlist that's exactly what I want to hear at that moment. Do you ever create special playlists for different activities?
Oh, absolutely. I have playlists for working out, for relaxing, for cooking, even a pump-up playlist for when I need energy. Making a playlist is often more enjoyable than just shuffling songs because you get to carefully select the mood.
I completely agree. It's definitely more creative. And thinking about musicians themselves, how much do you think they need to practice? Oh, they have to practice constantly. To practice means to repeatedly perform an activity or exercise in order to improve a skill. I imagine a professional musician probably has to practice their instrument for several hours every single day. That's why their live performances are always so flawless. You're right. Regular practice is crucial for any musician to master their instrument and deliver an amazing performance. It's probably the most important thing for skill development. Do you think it's harder to play a classical instrument like a violin than a modern one like an electric guitar?
That's an interesting question. I think they both have unique challenges. Perhaps a classical instrument often requires more formal training and precise technique, while an electric guitar might allow for more improvisation and experimentation. It depends on the style of music, too. But I think learning any instrument well is one of the most rewarding hobbies you can have.
I agree wholeheartedly. And what about recording music? Do you prefer listening to live recordings of concerts or studio-produced records? A record, in this context, can refer to the actual physical disc, or simply a recorded piece of music.
That's a tough choice. A live performance has an energy that's often more exciting than a studio record. You hear the audience, the raw sound. But studio records often have clearer sound quality and are more polished. I guess it depends on the band and the song. Some bands are definitely better live than on their records.
True. There's something special about that raw energy you mentioned. My favorite band's live recordings are always more powerful than their studio albums because you can feel the audience's reaction.
Exactly. So we've covered a lot about music and performing arts. We talked about my amazing first concert, the feeling of being part of the audience, and seeing the musicians on stage with their various instruments. We discussed the importance of melody and lyrics in a song, and how musicians need to practice for a great performance.
And we also learned how to use comparatives and superlatives to express our preferences and describe music and performances. Like saying this instrument is louder than that one, or that was the most amazing concert I've ever seen. We also talked about creating playlists and the difference between live performances and studio records.
Remember, these words and grammar points will help you describe your own musical tastes and experiences in English. Don't be afraid to share your favorite songs or stories about going to a concert. It's a fantastic way to connect with people.
Absolutely. Now let's move from the sounds we create to the visual masterpieces. Next up, we're diving into the world of art, crafts, and creativity. Get ready to unlock your inner artist.
I am. I love thinking about art and creativity. It's such a diverse and personal hobby for so many people. Instead of sounds, we're talking about sights and textures now.
Exactly. And just like with music, there's a whole rich vocabulary to explore when we talk about art, crafts, and being creative. It's not just for professional artists. It's for anyone who enjoys making or appreciating beautiful things.
So true. When I think of art, the first thing that often comes to mind is a painting. A painting is a picture or image created using paints or colors, typically on a canvas or a board. I find them so captivating.
Yes, painting is one of the most common forms of visual art. But there's also sculpture. A sculpture is a three-dimensional art form created by carving, modeling, or welding materials like wood, stone, metal, or clay. So it's something you can walk around and see from all sides.
Oh, like those big statues you see in parks or museums. I saw a magnificent marble sculpture once. It was so lifelike, I could hardly believe it was carved from a block of stone. The artist was incredibly talented.
That's a great example of a sculpture. And where do people usually go to see these amazing pieces of art, Emily?
Well, for both paintings and sculptures, people often visit an art gallery or an exhibition.
Excellent. A gallery is a room or building for the display or sale of works of art. It's a permanent place where you can usually see a collection. An exhibition, on the other hand, is a public display of works of art or other items, usually for a limited time. It might be a special show featuring a particular artist or a specific theme.
I've been to some amazing exhibitions where they brought together famous paintings from all over the world just for a few months. It's wonderful because you get to see art that isn't usually in your local gallery.
That's the beauty of it. It offers a chance to see unique collections. Now, thinking about the process of creating art, Emily, what do you think is one of the first steps an artist takes before they start a big painting or sculpture?
I imagine they might sketch something out first. A sketch is a rough drawing or outline made quickly, often as a preliminary study. My friend who draws often does a lot of quick sketches before she commits to a larger piece.
You're absolutely right. A sketch is crucial for planning. And from that sketch, they might further design their piece. To design means to plan and make a detailed drawing or model of something. It involves thinking about composition, colors, and overall structure.
So, a design is like the blueprint for the artwork. It's where they figure out all the elements. And all of this comes from their inspiration, doesn't it? Inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Artists often say they find inspiration in nature or in people or even in dreams.
Precisely. Inspiration is that spark that gets the whole creative process going. And being creative means having the ability or power to create. It's about using your imagination to produce original ideas or works of art. Not just painting or sculpting, but anything from writing a song to baking a cake can be a creative act.
I love that definition. It means everyone can be creative in their own way, even if they don't think of themselves as an artist. I feel really creative when I'm trying out a new recipe, for example. It involves a lot of design and a little sketching in my mind.
That's a perfect example of how creativity applies to everyday life. Now let's talk about how we describe these works of art. This is where descriptive adjectives and modifiers come in handy. Adjectives, as we know, describe nouns. For example, a beautiful painting or a powerful sculpture.
Right, so adjectives like colorful, abstract, realistic, or intense.
Exactly. And modifiers, often adverbs, can strengthen or clarify those adjectives or even other verbs. For instance, instead of just beautiful, you might say incredibly beautiful. Or instead of painted, you could say beautifully painted. They add more detail and emphasis.
Ah, I see. So, the artist used vibrantly colored paints instead of just the artist used vibrant colors. It adds a level of intensity.
You've got it. So, let's try a little exercise. Let's imagine a painting. Emily, what kind of painting are we looking at? Give us some initial descriptive adjectives.
Okay, let's imagine a large, vibrant landscape painting. It's quite abstract, but you can clearly see it's a landscape. It has very bold colors and an almost dreamlike quality.
Wonderful start. So it's a large, vibrant, abstract landscape painting with bold colors and a dreamlike quality. Now, how would you describe the colors using a modifier?
The colors are strikingly bold, especially the blues and greens. They're so intensely bright, they almost seem to glow. The artist used them masterfully, strikingly bold and intensely bright. Perfect. You're using adverbs like strikingly and intensely to modify the adjectives bold and bright. What about the overall feeling or mood of the painting? It creates a feeling of calm, but also a sense of mystery. It's exceptionally peaceful, yet there's a slightly unsettling element to it. Maybe the way the light is captured makes it feel a bit otherworldly. The artist has skillfully blended the colors to achieve this effect.
Exceptionally peaceful and skillfully blended. Fantastic. You're describing not just what you see, but also the emotion it evokes and the technique involved. What particular details stand out to you in this painting?
Well, even though it's abstract, I can make out shapes that look like trees and a river. The lines are very fluid and graceful. There's a certain light in the top corner that makes it feel like it's dawn or dusk. It's really cleverly done.
Fluid and graceful describe the lines beautifully, and cleverly done tells us about the artist's ingenuity. When you look at it, what do you think the artist's intention might have been? What message might they have wanted to convey?
I think the artist was trying to capture the feeling of nature rather than a perfect representation. It feels like an exploration of how light and color make us feel. It's a very thought-provoking piece, one that makes you pause and reflect. I find it utterly mesmerizing.
Thought-provoking and utterly mesmerizing. Excellent descriptive adjectives. They show a deeper level of engagement with the art. Sometimes, a piece of art is so exceptional, so skillfully made, that we call it a masterpiece. A masterpiece is a work of outstanding artistry, skill, or workmanship. It's considered the artist's greatest work or a work of lasting importance.
So if that imaginary painting we just described was real and universally acclaimed, it could definitely be considered a masterpiece. It sounds like it uses color and form in a truly unique way.
Absolutely. It's a work that stands out for its exceptional quality. Now, besides painting and sculpture, many people enjoy various crafts. What comes to mind when you hear the word crafts?
Oh, crafts are wonderful. Things like pottery, knitting, jewelry making, woodworking, or even making cards. The defining characteristic for many crafts is that they are handmade. Handmade means made by hand, not by machine, and it often implies a certain level of care and uniqueness.
That's a great point. There's a special value to something handmade. It carries the personal touch of the creator. When you give a handmade gift, it often means more than something mass-produced, because someone put their time and creative energy into it.
Definitely. I received a handmade ceramic mug once, and it's my favorite mug now because I know the artist spent time shaping it, glazing it, and firing it. It's beautifully crafted and feels so personal.
That's a lovely example. It highlights the care involved. Whether it's a fine art painting in a gallery, a grand sculpture in an exhibition, or a simple handmade craft, they all spring from creativity and inspiration. And remember, we can use these strong descriptive adjectives and modifiers to express our opinions about them.
So, if I wanted to say I really liked a piece of art, I could say, I find this painting absolutely stunning, or the artist's technique is truly remarkable.
Exactly. Or if you want to express a more critical opinion, but still respectfully, while the design is quite innovative, I find the colors a bit overwhelmingly bright, or the sculpture is undeniably powerful, but its placement in the gallery feels a little awkwardly constrained.
That's super useful, Brian. It helps us go beyond just I like it or I don't like it. We can describe why we feel that way.
Right? It enriches the conversation. So we've talked about painting, sculpture, seeing art in a gallery or exhibition. We explored the journey from sketch and design fueled by inspiration and creativity. And we discussed the special nature of handmade items and what makes a masterpiece.
And we learned how to use descriptive adjectives like vibrant, abstract, bold, dreamlike, fluid, graceful, thought-provoking, and mesmerizing, plus how to supercharge them with modifiers like strikingly, intensely, exceptionally, skillfully, cleverly, and utterly.
That's a comprehensive look at how to talk about art and crafts. Remember, being able to describe what you see and how it makes you feel is a huge part of engaging with visual arts in English.
It really opens up new conversations. From the visual arts, let's now turn to the world of words. Next, we're going to dive into the joy of reading and writing. Get ready to turn the page to new words.
I love that transition, Emily. Turning the page to new words. That's exactly what we're going to do. Reading and writing are such fundamental hobbies, not just for learning English, but for exploring new ideas, stories, and ways of thinking.
Absolutely, Brian. I mean, who hasn't gotten lost in a good book? It's like a mini vacation for your mind. And writing, whether it's stories or just keeping a journal, can be incredibly therapeutic.
That's a great point about keeping a journal. A journal is a daily record of news and events, or a personal diary. It's where you can write down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Many people find it helpful for self-reflection and even for practicing their writing skills.
I definitely agree. I've kept a journal off and on for years, and it's amazing to look back and see how much I've grown or what I was thinking about at a certain time. It's a very personal form of writing.
Indeed. Now, when we talk about reading, one of the most popular forms of reading material is a novel. A novel is a long, fictional story, typically with a complex plot and many characters. Think of it as a journey into someone else's imagination.
Oh, I love a good novel. There's nothing like getting engrossed in a completely new world. And you mentioned plot and characters. Can you explain those a bit more for our listeners?
Of course. The plot of a story is the sequence of events, how the story unfolds from beginning to end. It's the what happens next part of the book. And characters are the people or sometimes animals in the story. They are who the story is about, and their actions and relationships drive the plot.
So, if I'm reading a mystery novel, the plot would be all the twists and turns the detective follows to solve the crime, and the characters would be the detective, the suspects, and other people involved. Is that right?
Exactly. You've got it. The better the plot and the more developed the characters, the more engaging the novel usually is. And who creates these amazing stories and worlds?
That would be the author, wouldn't it? The author is the writer of a book, article, or play. They are the person who pens the words and brings the story to life.
That's right. The author is the creative force behind the work. They spend countless hours crafting the plot, developing the characters, and writing every chapter. Speaking of chapters, a chapter is one of the main divisions of a book. Most novels are divided into chapters to make them easier to read and to structure the narrative.
That makes sense. It helps you find your place, and sometimes each chapter ends on a cliffhanger, making you want to keep reading. Now, not all books are fiction, are they? What about stories about real people?
For real people's stories, we often read a biography. A biography is a non-fiction account of someone's life, written by another author. It tells the story of a real person, from their birth to their achievements, challenges, and legacy.
So, if I wanted to learn about the life of a famous scientist or a historical figure, I would pick up a biography. It's like learning history through one person's eyes.
Precisely. And there's also an autobiography, which is a biography written by the person themselves. But for learning about someone else, a biography is the way to go. What about another type of literary art, Emily? Something that focuses more on rhythm and feelings?
You must be talking about poetry. Poetry is a literary work where special intensity is given to the expression of feelings and ideas by the use of distinctive style and rhythm. It often uses rhyme and specific structures, but not always. It's like painting with words.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Painting with words. Poetry can be incredibly moving and powerful, using fewer words to convey deep meaning. It's a very different reading experience from a novel or a biography.
It definitely is. And when people read all these books, whether it's a novel, a biography, or a collection of poetry, they often want to share their thoughts or see what others think, right?
Absolutely. That's where a review comes in handy. A review is a critical appraisal of a book, play, film, or other work. It's where someone gives their opinion and analysis of the work, often rating it or recommending it. You often see book reviews online or in newspapers.
So if I read a novel and I absolutely loved it, I could write a positive review to tell others why they should read it. And if I didn't enjoy it as much, I could write a more critical review explaining my reasons.
Exactly. A good review isn't just I liked it or I didn't like it. It explains why, discussing elements like the plot, the characters, the author's writing style, and so on. It helps other readers decide if they want to pick up that book from their bookshelf.
And speaking of bookshelf, that's where we keep all our beloved books. A bookshelf is a shelf or a set of shelves for holding books. My bookshelf is overflowing. I have novels, biographies, even some poetry collections crammed onto it.
Mine too, Emily. A full bookshelf is a sign of a curious mind. So we've covered quite a few important words related to reading and writing. Novel, biography, plot, character, author, poetry, journal, review, and bookshelf.
Excellent. Now let's talk about grammar. When we discuss books and reading, we often need to talk about actions that happened in the past. Brian, can you help us understand the difference between the past simple and the present perfect tenses when we're talking about our reading habits?
Of course, Emily. This is a very common point of confusion for English learners, but it's quite straightforward once you understand the core difference. The past simple is used for completed actions at a specific time in the past. The time is usually mentioned or implied. For example, I read this book last year. Last year tells us exactly when I finished reading it.
So, if I say, I finished that novel yesterday, yesterday is the specific time, so I use the past simple, finished.
Precisely. Now, the present perfect is different. We use it for actions that started in the past and continue to the present, or for actions completed at an unspecified time in the past, or for repeated actions up to now. The emphasis is often on the result or experience, not when it happened. For example, I have read that book 3 times. Here, the action of reading is completed, but we don't say when it happened, and the emphasis is on the fact that the experience has happened multiple times up to now.
I see. So, I've read that book 3 times means the action started in the past and has been repeated, and it's relevant to my current knowledge or experience with the book. Whereas, I read that book in high school uses the past simple because in high school, is a specific past time.
You've nailed it, Emily. Another example. I wrote a journal entry this morning uses past simple because this morning is a specific, completed time. But if you say, I have written many journal entries over the years, you'd use present perfect because it's a series of actions over a period up to now, and the exact times aren't specified or aren't the focus.
That makes a lot of sense. It really changes how you express the timing. Now, how about we put this into practice? Let's swap some book recommendations. I'll start.
Sounds like a great idea. I'm always looking for new things to read. What's on your bookshelf that you'd recommend, Emily?
Okay, so I recently finished reading this amazing historical novel called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I actually read it last month, and I honestly haven't stopped thinking about it since. It's truly unique.
The Midnight Library. I have heard good things about that. What's the plot about, without giving away too many spoilers, of course?
Well, the main character, Nora Seed, is a woman who is very unhappy with her life. She gets a chance to visit a library between life and death, where she can try out different versions of her life based on the choices she could have made. It's a fascinating concept. The author explores themes of regret and parallel universes.
Wow, that sounds really intriguing. So it's a novel about possibilities. What did you particularly enjoy about it?
I found the plot incredibly clever and thought-provoking. Every chapter offered a new scenario, and I was always curious to see what Nora would discover next. The way the author developed the character of Nora, making her so relatable, was just brilliant. I really felt for her journey. I have recommended this book to all my friends already.
That's a strong endorsement. So you read it last month, past simple for a specific time. And you haven't stopped thinking about it since. Present perfect for an action that started in the past and continues to now. And you have recommended it to friends. Present perfect because you've done it. And it's relevant now. Perfect usage.
Thanks, Brian. Now it's your turn. What have you read recently that you'd like to recommend? Or maybe a book you have enjoyed reading many times?
Great question. I have actually been doing a lot of reading lately. One book that immediately comes to mind, and one I have reread several times over the years, is *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind* by Yuval Noah Harari. It's a non-fiction biography of the human race, if you will.
Oh, I have seen that on so many bookshelves. It looks very dense. What is it about specifically?
It's an ambitious book. The author, Harari, takes us through the entire history of humanity, from the emergence of Homo sapiens in the Stone Age to the technological and ethical revolutions of the 21st century. It's essentially a biography of our species. He talks about how cognitive, agricultural, and scientific revolutions have shaped our existence.
That sounds like a massive undertaking for an author. What did you like about the plot, or rather, the timeline of events, and the way the information was presented?
Well, what I found most captivating was the author's ability to simplify complex ideas without losing their depth. He has a remarkable talent for connecting historical events to current societal structures. The book isn't really driven by a typical plot with characters in the same way a novel is, but the historical narrative itself feels like a grand story. I have learned so much from it.
I can imagine. It sounds like it challenges your perspective on humanity. So, you have read it multiple times. Is there a particular chapter or idea that resonated with you most?
Yes, definitely. The part about the agricultural revolution, how it changed human society, really stuck with me. I read that particular chapter many times because it made me look at farming and society in a completely new way. And the discussions about collective fictions and shared myths that unite humans are also incredibly insightful. I have found those ideas incredibly powerful.
That's amazing. I might have to add that to my ever-growing bookshelf list. Now, let's talk about politely expressing opinions, especially if you haven't enjoyed a book as much. It can be tricky to give a negative review without being rude.
Absolutely, Emily. It's important to be respectful, even if your opinion differs. Instead of saying, "That book was terrible," you could try phrases like, While I appreciated the author's effort, I personally found the plot a bit slow for my taste. Or, it wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I can see why others might enjoy it.
Those are good. They focus on your personal experience rather than making a blanket judgment. So, instead of, I hated the main character, I could say, I struggled to connect with the main character. Or, the main character didn't quite resonate with me.
Exactly. Or if someone recommends a book you have read and didn't like, instead of, oh, I read that and it was awful, you can say, ah, yes, I have read that one. It didn't quite capture my imagination, but I know it's very popular. This acknowledges their recommendation without dismissing it.
That's really helpful. It allows for different opinions. What about discussing poetry or journals? How do we express opinions on those politely?
For poetry, you might say, I found the imagery in this poem incredibly vivid, though some of the symbolism was a bit challenging for me to interpret. Or, I really appreciated the rhythm and flow of this collection. The author has a remarkable way with words.
And for a journal? I guess it's a bit different because it's so personal.
You're right. It's less about reviewing the journal itself and more about discussing the acti of journaling, or perhaps specific passages if they are shared. If someone shares a piece of their journal with you, you might say, "Thank you for sharing this. Your honesty is truly moving." Or, "I found your reflections on that experience very insightful." It's about acknowledging the personal effort and content, rather than critiquing it like a published work.
That makes sense. It's about respecting the vulnerability. So, to recap, when talking about reading and writing, we have learned words like novel, biography, plot, character, author, poetry, journal, and review. And of course, where we keep them all, the bookshelf.
And we have also practiced using the past simple for specific completed actions in the past, like, I read that book last year, and the present perfect for actions that are connected to the present, like, I have read that book 3 times, or I haven't stopped thinking about it.
It's really interesting how those small grammatical changes make such a big difference in meaning. This discussion has definitely made me want to pick up a new book. My bookshelf is calling my name.
Mine too, Emily. Reading and writing aren't just hobbies. They're doorways to new worlds and new ways of expressing ourselves. They are fantastic ways to expand your English vocabulary and understanding.
Absolutely. And they're great for conversation starters too. You can always ask someone what they are currently reading or what their favorite book has been.
Indeed. And with the vocabulary and grammar points we've discussed today, our listeners have gained some excellent tools to do just that.
Wonderful. Well, from turning pages, we're now going to turn our attention to another exciting hobby that also involves a lot of planning and discovery, travel and adventure. Get ready to pack your bags and explore new words with us.
I love that, Emily. From turning pages to turning globes. Travel and adventure are definitely hobbies that can open up the world, both literally and linguistically. It's not just about seeing new places. It's about experiencing new cultures and speaking English in real-world situations.
Exactly. I think travel is one of the most rewarding hobbies because it broadens your perspective and creates amazing memories. And what better way to expand your English vocabulary than by talking about where you've been or where you dream of going? Couldn't agree more. Let's dive into some essential vocabulary related to travel and adventure. First up, we have destination. Your destination is the place you are going to. It's your end point, your goal. So if I say, my dream destination is Kyoto, Japan, it means Kyoto is the place I really want to visit. It's where I plan to arrive.
That's right. It's the where to of your journey. Next, when you're planning a trip, especially a multi-stop one, you'll need an itinerary. An itinerary is a detailed plan or route for a journey. It lists the places you'll visit, the dates, and sometimes even the specific activities you'll do.
Oh, I love a good itinerary. It helps me stay organized. So if my itinerary for next summer says, Day 1, arrive in Paris. Day 2, Eiffel Tower and Louvre Museum. That's my plan for those days.
Perfect example. It's your travel roadmap. Now, when you're in a new city, one of the most common things to do is sightseeing. Sightseeing is the activity of visiting interesting places, especially by tourists. You typically do this to see famous buildings, natural wonders, or historical sites.
So, if I spend a whole day walking around Rome, visiting the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain, I'm doing a lot of sightseeing. It's about seeing the sights.
Precisely. And often, during sightseeing, you'll visit famous landmarks. A landmark is a building or natural feature that is easily recognized and can be used to navigate. It's often historically important or just very iconic.
Like the Great Wall of China or the Statue of Liberty. Those are famous landmarks. They are instantly recognizable.
Excellent. Now, beyond just visiting places, some people seek out adventure. Adventure refers to an exciting or unusual experience, especially one involving risk or uncertainty. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone.
So, if someone goes skydiving or hikes a very challenging mountain trail, that's an adventure. It's not just a trip, it's an experience that really gets your adrenaline going.
Absolutely. It's often tied to physical activity or exploring the unknown. Speaking of exploring, to explore means to travel through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it. It's about discovery and investigating a new place.
I love to explore new cities by just walking around without a map sometimes. You find hidden cafes or interesting shops that way. It's a spontaneous way to discover.
That's a wonderful way to explore. It's about uncovering what's there. And after all that exploring and sightseeing, what do people often bring back to remember their trip? A souvenir. A souvenir is a thing that is kept as a reminder of a place visited or an event experienced. It could be a small statue, a keychain, or even a local craft. Exactly. It's a tangible memory. I have a whole collection of fridge magnets from every destination I've visited. Each one is a little souvenir. Now, for a particular style of travel that is often associated with adventure and budget-friendly exploration, we have backpacking. Backpacking is the activity of traveling or hiking with a backpack, often for extended periods, carrying all your belongings with you.
Ah, backpacking. That implies a more rustic, often cheaper way of traveling, right? You're not staying in fancy hotels, you're staying in hostels or camping.
That's generally true. It's a very popular way for young people to explore different countries. It's about experiencing the culture more directly. Culture refers to the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or group. When you travel, you encounter different cultures.
So, trying local food, learning a few phrases in the local language, or visiting a traditional market, these are all ways to experience the culture of a place. It's about understanding the people and their way of life.
Precisely. It's about immersing yourself. And often, when you're traveling and experiencing the culture, you might meet some local people. A local person is someone who lives in a particular area, town, or city. They can often give you the best tips for exploring.
That's true. Whenever I travel, I try to talk to local people for recommendations. They know the best hidden gems, not just the tourist traps. Great point, Emily. So, we've got quite a list of useful travel words: destination, itinerary, sightseeing, landmark, adventure, explore, souvenir, backpacking, culture, and local. Fantastic. Now, let's talk about grammar. When we plan trips or dream about future adventures, we use future tenses. Brian, can you guide us through some of the common ways to express future plans in English?
Absolutely, Emily. This is crucial for talking about travel. There are several ways to express the future, and they each have slightly different nuances. Let's start with going to. We use be going to for future plans and intentions that we've already decided on. It also suggests there's some evidence or a strong intention. For example, I am going to visit Japan next year. This implies you've already made the decision or are actively planning it.
So if I say I am going to buy a new backpack for my trip, It means I've decided to do it and it's a definite plan.
Exactly. Now we also use will for future actions, but typically for sudden decisions made at the moment of speaking, or for predictions, promises, or offers. For example, I will travel to Italy in summer. This could be a decision you just made or a general statement about a future event.
So if I suddenly decide, oh, I forgot my passport, I will go back and get it. That's a spontaneous decision. So will is correct.
That's a perfect example. We also use the present continuous tense for future arrangements that are fixed and confirmed, often with a specific time or date. This is common for travel plans. For example, I am flying to London next Tuesday. This implies you've already bought the ticket.
Oh, this is important. So if I say, we are meeting our tour guide at 9 a.m. tomorrow, it means the meeting is already scheduled. It's a definite arrangement.
Precisely. It's often used interchangeably with going to for plans, but present continuous emphasizes the arrangement aspect, the fact that it's already set. And finally, the simple present tense can also be used for future events, but usually for scheduled events like timetables, programs, or official arrangements. For instance, the train departs at 7 p.m.
So, if I look at my itinerary and say, our flight leaves at 6 a.m., that's using the simple present for a scheduled event.
You've got it, Emily. It's like a fixed calendar event. So to recap, be going to for decided plans and intentions. Will for spontaneous decisions, predictions, promises. Present continuous for fixed arrangements. Simple present for scheduled events.
That's a fantastic summary, Brian. Now how about we put these tenses and our new vocabulary into action? Let's do a role play. We are friends planning a trip together. We need to decide on a destination, what we're going to do, and use our new words.
I love it. Sounds like a great adventure. So where are we going to go, Emily? What destination is calling your name for our next trip?
Well, Brian, I have been dreaming about a trip to Southeast Asia for ages. Specifically, I am thinking we are going to go to Thailand. The culture is so rich, and there are so many beautiful landmarks to see.
Thailand. That sounds incredible. I will start looking at flights tonight. I have always wanted to explore the temples in Bangkok and the beaches in the south. When are you thinking we are going to travel?
I was thinking maybe next spring around March. The weather is usually perfect then. I am going to check some dates for flights and hotels later today. I will send you some options.
Perfect. March works for me. So what kind of adventure are we going to have there? Are we thinking more backpacking or something a bit more relaxed?
I'm leaning towards a mix. We definitely need to do some sightseeing in Bangkok. I am picturing us exploring the Grand Palace in Wat Arun. We will probably spend a few days there.
Excellent. I will definitely want to try all the local street food there. I am hearing amazing things about it. And after Bangkok, where are we going to go next?
For an adventure part, I am hoping we can go north, maybe to Chiang Mai. There are a lot of ethical elephant sanctuaries there, and I am really looking forward to seeing them. We are going to visit one for sure.
That sounds wonderful. I am excited about that already. I will bring my good camera. And then, for some relaxation, we will definitely need to go to an island, right? I am thinking Phuket or Krabi.
Absolutely. I am going to look for flights from Chiang Mai to one of the islands. Maybe Phuket. I am going to book a nice resort for a few days to unwind. We are going to swim and relax on the beach.
Sounds like a perfect itinerary developing here. How long are we planning to be there in total? 2 weeks?
I am aiming for 2 weeks, yes. It will give us enough time to experience a good mix of city, mountains, and beach. I am also going to research some local cooking classes. I will send you some options for those too.
That's a brilliant idea. I would love to learn some Thai cooking. And I will start putting together a packing list. I think I will need some light clothes and good walking shoes for all that sightseeing and exploring.
Yes, definitely. And don't forget space for souvenirs. I am sure we are going to find some amazing things to bring back. I am already imagining finding some beautiful handmade crafts.
Oh, for sure. I will probably buy a few gifts for my family. This is shaping up to be an amazing trip, Emily. I am so glad we are planning this together.
Me too, Brian. It's so exciting to talk about it. We have used going to for our definite plans, like we are going to go to Thailand and I am going to check some dates.
And will for more spontaneous decisions or predictions, like I will start looking at flights tonight, or we will probably spend a few days there.
We even use the present continuous for fixed arrangements, like we are meeting our tour guide at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Though we didn't mention a tour guide this time, it's a good example for our listeners. And simple present for schedules. Our flight leaves at 6 a.m.
This role play really helped put all those future tenses and the vocabulary into a real-world context. Our listeners can imagine themselves planning their own next adventure.
Definitely. It shows how natural it is to use these different tenses when you're talking about future plans. We covered so many useful words: destination, itinerary, sightseeing, landmark, adventure, explore, souvenir, backpacking, culture, and local.
Fantastic. And remembering these words and practicing these future tenses will greatly help our listeners discuss their own travel dreams and past experiences.
It really will. Travel is such a universal topic, and being able to discuss your journeys in English is incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. From exploring far-off lands, we're now going to shift our focus to something that also involves discovery, but perhaps closer to home, and often connects us with others. We're talking about the community aspect of hobbies, sharing and connecting through hobbies. Get ready to discover how hobbies can build English communities. Absolutely. From exploring far-off lands, we're now going to shift our focus to something that also involves discovery, but perhaps closer to home, and often connects us with others. We're talking about the community aspect of hobbies, sharing and connecting through hobbies. Get ready to discover how hobbies can build English communities.
I love this, because while hobbies are fantastic for personal enjoyment and skill development, they are also an amazing way to meet people who share your interests. And what better way to practice your English than by talking about something you're both passionate about?
You've hit on a crucial point, Emily. Hobbies are powerful connectors. They can help us build a community. A community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. In our context, it's a group of people who share a common interest or hobby.
So if I'm part of a book reading community, it means we all love reading and we often discuss books together. It's a group with a shared passion.
Exactly. It's that sense of belonging. And within a larger community, you might find smaller groups. A group is simply a number of people or things that are located, gathered, or classified together. It's a more general term.
Like a group of friends who play board games every Friday, or a study group for English learners.
Perfect. And a very common way to formalize these shared interests is to form a club. A club is an organization of people united by a common interest or purpose. They often have regular meetings and activities.
Oh, I know a lot about clubs. My university had so many. There was a chess club, a debate club, even a cooking club. It's where people with the same hobby get together regularly.
Right, clubs provide structure and a regular opportunity to engage with your hobby and other enthusiasts. Now, in our modern world, many of these connections happen online, through an online forum. An online forum is a website or a section of a website where people can discuss a topic, often by posting messages.
I use online forums all the time for my photography. If I have a question about a new camera lens, I can go to a photography online forum and ask for advice from other photographers. It's a virtual community.
Precisely. They're great for connecting with people globally who share very specific niche interests. Now, some hobbies also involve giving back, and that's where volunteer comes in. To volunteer means to offer your services for free, typically for a good cause or for a community project.
So if I spend a Saturday morning helping to clean up a local park because I care about the environment, I am a volunteer. I'm not getting paid. I'm just helping out.
That's right. It's a wonderful way to connect with people who share similar values and contribute to something bigger than yourself. Many hobbies, like gardening or animal welfare, have strong volunteer aspects. And all these clubs, groups, and communities often organize events. An event is a planned public or social occasion.
Like a charity run, a music festival, or a craft fair. These are all events where people with common interests can gather.
Exactly. They're specific happenings designed to bring people together. And a more informal way for people to connect is a meetup. A meetup is an informal gathering of people, often organized online, who share a common interest.
So, if there's a board game meetup at a local cafe, it's just a casual gathering for people who want to play board games. It's not as formal as a club meeting.
That's a great distinction, Emily. Meetups are often more spontaneous and flexible. So we've covered community, group, club, online forum, volunteer, event, and meetup. These are all excellent words to use when talking about the social side of your hobbies.
Now let's make this really practical for our listeners. Brian, I remember you once told me you joined a photography club when you first moved to a new city. Can you tell us a bit about that experience? I think it's a perfect example of connecting through hobbies.
Absolutely, Emily. It was a few years ago, after I relocated for work. I didn't know many people in the new city, and I really wanted to continue with my photography hobby. I knew I needed to actively sign up for something to meet new people.
To sign up for something means to formally register or enroll, right? Like putting your name down on a list.
Precisely. So I went online and found a local photography club. Their website had a section where you could sign up for their mailing list and become a member. It was a simple step to join in the activities they had planned.
To join in means to participate, to become involved with others in an activity. So you wanted to become an active participant.
Exactly. I didn't just want to watch from the sidelines. The club organized regular photo walks and workshops. My first activity was a photo walk around a historical part of the city. I was a bit nervous at first, but everyone was very welcoming. I started to hang out with a few people there.
To hang out with means to spend time informally with someone, often just relaxing or doing casual activities together. So you started making friends. That's right. After the photo walk, a small group of us decided to get together for coffee and discuss the photos we had taken. To get together means to meet, usually informally for a social purpose. It was a great way to talk more, beyond just photography. So, from initially signing up, you then joined in their activities, started hanging out with new friends, and eventually got together for coffee. That sounds like a natural progression.
It really was. As I spent more time with them, I realized how much I enjoyed being part of that community. I even started to branch out and try different types of photography, like portraiture, which I hadn't done much of before.
To branch out means to expand your interests or activities into new areas. So your hobby helped you discover new things about photography and yourself.
Exactly. It was inspiring to be around people who were so passionate, and I really felt like I fit in with the group.
To fit in means to be accepted by others in a group, to belong. That's so important when you're trying to make new friends.
It truly is. I think that feeling of belonging made it easier to reach out to new people. For example, if I saw someone new at an event, I'd make an effort to talk to them, knowing how I felt when I first joined.
To reach out means to try to communicate with someone, often to offer help or to establish a connection. So you became a welcoming face yourself.
That was the idea. We often use phrasal verbs like these when talking about forming connections. Another one we used informally just now, if you haven't seen someone in a while, you might catch up.
To catch up means to talk to someone you haven't seen for a while to find out what they've been doing. So if you meet an old friend from the photography club after a few months, you might say, "Let's catch up over coffee soon."
Exactly. It's about bringing each other up to date. And sometimes, for projects, you might team up with others.
To team up means to work together with someone, often to achieve a common goal. So if two photographers decide to work on a joint exhibition, they would team up.
Precisely. It implies collaboration. And finally, When you want to make sure people know you're coming to an event or a meetup, you say you'll show up.
To show up just means to arrive at a place or an event. Like, I hope everyone shows up for the next photography meetup.
You've got it. So these phrasal verbs are super useful when you're talking about socializing and joining groups. Let's recap them. Sign up for, join in, hang out with, get together, branch out, fit in, reach out, catch up, team up, and show up.
Those are really practical. Brian, how has being part of that photography community impacted your English speaking, even outside of photography discussions?
That's a great question, Emily. Being part of the club meant I was consistently using English in a social setting, not just in formal lessons. We talked about photo techniques, upcoming events, or just general life stuff. It really helped me become more comfortable with conversational English. It improved my fluency and my ability to express my opinions and feelings naturally.
I can imagine. When you're talking about something you love, the words just flow more easily. And it's not just about learning new words, it's about learning how to use them in real-life interactions.
Exactly. For example, when we were discussing new cameras on the online forum, I had to describe what features I was looking for, or express my agreement or disagreement with someone's opinion. This wasn't just rote learning, it was authentic communication.
That's a huge benefit. And for our listeners, if they are looking for ways to practice English, joining a group or a club related to their hobbies sounds like a fantastic strategy. How would you recommend they find such groups?
That's a great point. I would suggest starting with local community centers, libraries, or even university clubs if they are students. Many cities have meetup groups for various hobbies. Websites like meetup.com are specifically designed for people to find and organize local meetups based on shared interests.
Yes, and don't forget online forums or social media groups. Many hobbies have very active online forums where you can connect with people globally or find local chapters of clubs. You might even find opportunities to volunteer if your hobby has a charitable aspect.
That's an excellent suggestion. Being a volunteer is not only rewarding, but also puts you in a natural environment to speak English with others who share your passion for a cause. Imagine volunteering at an animal shelter and discussing the care of animals with other English-speaking volunteers.
Or if you love gardening, joining a community garden project. You can team up with others to plant vegetables and flowers and learn new English vocabulary about plants and tools while doing it.
Exactly. The key is to find something you truly enjoy, because that passion will motivate you to join in and hang out with others. Even if you feel a bit shy about your English at first, the shared interest creates a comfortable environment.
That's so true. I remember when I started going to a local running group. I wasn't the fastest, but everyone was so supportive. We would get together for runs and then often catch up over coffee afterward. It really helped me feel more connected to my new city and gave me a chance to use my English in a relaxed setting.
That's a perfect example, Emily. It shows how hobbies aren't just about the activity itself. They're about the connections you make and the doors they open for language practice. It's a low-pressure way to improve.
And it really allows you to branch out of your comfort zone, doesn't it? You might start with one hobby, and then through the people you meet, you discover new interests.
Absolutely. I've seen people who sign up for a hiking group, and then, through that group, they team up with someone to learn rock climbing, or they start photography to document their hikes. It's a ripple effect.
So for our listeners, think about your hobbies. Is there a club, a group, an online forum, or an event you can sign up for? Are there people you can reach out to who share your interests?
And when you do, don't be afraid to join in conversations, hang out with new friends, and just let your passion lead the way. You'll be surprised how quickly you start to fit in and how much your English improves.
This is such a great way to live the language, Brian. Hobbies make learning English feel less like a chore and more like an enjoyable part of your life.
Indeed, Emily. From discovering new words about art and books, to planning adventures and now, building connections through shared passions, we've covered so much today.
We really have. And as we wrap up this episode, Brian, I think it's time for us to revisit some of the fantastic vocabulary we've learned and offer some final encouragement to our wonderful listeners. We really have. And as we wrap up this episode, Brian, I think it's time for us to revisit some of the fantastic vocabulary we've learned and offer some final encouragement to our wonderful listeners.
I agree, Emily. It's been quite a journey through the world of hobbies and personal interests. We've covered everything from sports and music to art, reading, travel, and even how hobbies help us connect with others.
So many great words and phrases. Let's highlight some of the key ones that our listeners can start using right away to talk about their own passions. Brian, how about we go through a quick recap?
Excellent idea. Let's start from the very beginning. We talked about your favorite hobby. Remember, a hobby is an activity that someone does for pleasure in their spare time. What's your main hobby, Emily?
Well, photography is definitely my main hobby. And that's where we talked about things like going to a gallery to see an exhibition of incredible masterpieces. A gallery is a place where art is displayed, and an exhibition is a public show of art or other items. A masterpiece is a work of outstanding artistry, skill, or workmanship.
Perfect. And from the world of sports, we learned about being a fan. If you're a sports fan, you're someone who admires and supports a particular team or sport enthusiastically. You might go to a match to see your favorite team play.
And speaking of entertainment, for music lovers, we highlighted going to a concert. A concert is a musical performance given in public, typically by a single performer or a musical group. You might hear wonderful melodies and powerful lyrics.
Exactly. Then we moved on to the world of books. If you enjoy reading, you might pick up a novel, which is a long written story about imaginary characters and events. And the story's series of events is called the plot.
That's right. And for those with a sense of adventure, we discuss travel as a hobby. You choose a destination, which is the place to which someone or something is going or being sent. You might go sightseeing to visit famous landmarks.
Wonderful. And in our last section, we really delved into the social side of hobbies. We talked about finding a community, which is a group of people with a common interest. Within that, you might find a smaller group or join a club. A club is an organization of people united by a common interest.
And connecting online. We learned about online forums, which are websites where people can discuss topics by posting messages. They're great for getting advice or sharing your passion.
And remember, you can also volunteer your time, which means offering your services for free, often for a good cause related to your hobby. Many hobbies organize events or informal meetups to bring people together. An event is a planned public occasion, and a meetup is a casual gathering of people.
And to really wrap up those social connections, we covered some fantastic phrasal verbs, like to sign up for something, which means to register, to hang out with friends, meaning to spend time informally with them.
Or to fit in, which means to be accepted by others in a group. And to reach out to someone, meaning to try to communicate with them, often to connect or offer help. Those are all so useful for talking about meeting new people and forming friendships through your hobbies.
Wow, that's a lot of vocabulary, Brian. And it just goes to show how rich the language is when we talk about things we truly care about.
Absolutely, Emily. And now for our listeners, we have a challenge and a final word of encouragement.
Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to take some of these new words and phrases and actively use them this week. Think about your own hobbies. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Try to describe your hobby using the vocabulary we've discussed today. For example, if you love to cook, you might say, "My main hobby is cooking. I love to experiment with new recipes, and I sometimes volunteer at a local food bank."
Or if you enjoy gaming, you could say, "I'm a big fan of video games. I often hang out with my friends online in gaming forums, and we team up to play in online tournaments."
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The goal here isn't perfection, it's communication. It's about taking what you've learned and making it a part of your active vocabulary.
And remember, English isn't just a subject you study in a textbook. It's a living language, full of possibilities, especially when you connect it to your own life and passions.
Your hobbies are part of who you are. They are a gateway to meeting new people, discovering new things, and now they are also a fantastic tool for improving your English.
That's it exactly. Fluency isn't just about memorizing grammar rules. It's about living the language, one phrase at a time. It's about finding joy in expressing yourself, even if it's just about your favorite way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
When you talk about something you truly love, the words come more naturally, and the learning feels effortless. So, embrace your hobbies, share your passions, and watch your English vocabulary and confidence grow.
Thank you for joining us on English Podcast for Listening and Speaking. We hope this episode has inspired you to explore your hobbies in English and connect with others who share your interests.
Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep living the language. We can't wait to hear about your passions. Until next time, take care.
Bye, everyone.